What's up everybody, and today we're doing another First Steps video. We're going to be stepping into Guild Wars 2 today, and let's get right into it. So when I started Guild Wars 2, I was very kind of intrigued with like the fantasy of the world, the look of the races. They look super cool, like pretty unique and just creative. And I chose to be a human. That's the choice I made. So I chose to be a human necromancer at first, and I played some other characters as well later on. So that's when I got into the game, and you know, at the beginning they give you a lot of choices for your RP. I thought it was really cool. You get to build your own story. It's cool. And then we got into the game. They give you a cool cinematic that's based on your character. That's cool. I like that. And then you start off in the story of the first area, the human area. And each race has a different starting area. And you probably have a totally different starting cinematic depending on the race that you have, depending on the class that you have even. And I think that's cool. That's great. That means that they didn't spare any expense for that. And the art looks pretty cool too. So when I got into the game, I was kind of greeted with the story of this area outside of a big city. I can't remember the name. So the whole area is called Kryta, I think. Kryta? I think. So when you get out there, you learn that, oh, these centaurs are attacking this place, and you gotta help out. You gotta kill some centaurs, and then you gotta save some people. And I was like, wow, okay, getting right into the story. It's pretty cool. I like that. And we moved on into this kind of area, this, what is it? It's like a fort, and it's a garrison, and we fight some centaurs, and then the centaur leader summons an earth elemental, and the earth elemental is your first boss, I suppose. And this is the beginning of the game, so I can't really fault them for making it super easy, but it was a little bit easier than I probably would hope for. I would ask for something a little bit harder. I mean, if people are playing MMOs, they probably understand some stuff. So, you know, I mean, but you gotta think about everybody, I guess. That said, I'm not going to lie, like the first couple of quests, they're pretty boring. There's not really, you're pretty much just auto-attacking, and I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, I was not engaged in that gameplay at that point. So as you go through, you're going to get these kind of scenes between your character and a different character. And I think this is a really cool idea, like a cool approach to dialogue. It kind of makes you, as a character, you're being talked to and not talked at, or not, you're not like a kind of, you're not an object in the story. You are a part of the story. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think that's a great idea. And that said, when you're doing this, you definitely feel pigeonholed in your dialogue, because there are things that your character is going to say, not in your voice, and there's likely going to be times when you don't agree with what they say. And I felt this. I felt kind of pigeonholed. I didn't really like the idea of who is this character that I've worked on building in the beginning, in the character creation, and then now is totally different than what I was hoping for. I was trying to create, and I think that's not the best. I think that's not a great idea, especially with this kind of dialogue option. I think you should be able to get like choices, but I mean, it is what it is. I assume that they probably realized that later on, and they fixed it up as the expansions came out, but I don't know. I haven't played that far. So as I go through, after we do that boss, we go to move on, and we talk to this kind of scout guy, and he scouts out parts of the map for us. It gives you a section of the map that you can go and explore, and you can do a bunch of quests and events. And I think that's really cool. It keeps you organized with your you're filling the bar of exploring and doing quests for this zone. And I think that's cool. You go to a certain area and you do a quest for this person, and there's probably going to be an event that pops up that is like an open world event, and that's really cool. I think it makes the world feel alive. There was people all over the place, and I think that has to do with the way that they do sharding, or whatever they call it in this game. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was it felt good. It felt really good to see people playing and doing that. Everybody wants to fill the bar of this area, and those people were doing it too. That felt great. And when you went to these places, you finish this quest and you get rewarded by a kind of vendor that you get to pay with like reputation bucks. And I mean, it's not the biggest, you don't get a huge reward for that. Your reward is more so the kind of the experience. You get experience and you get a level with this. And, you know, I'd rather get the experience than really the vendor. But, you know, it's kind of a cool, neat thing that you get. You get to go talk to them and they give you like an emblem or whatever their specialty is. So, all that said, that's really good. I love it. But the main map is bad, okay? The mini-map, I actually think is great. I think the mini-map is great. They need to move it up, probably, for me. I don't like the position, but the mini-map is great. You can interact with it, you can move it around. You don't have to be stuck on your character the whole time. They have little buttons to zoom in, zoom out, stick onto your character. That's great. I love it. I think that's a great idea. I think almost every MMO should probably put that in their games. Please. That said, again, the map, the main map is bad, okay? Like, you are trying to go to a place that's kind of hidden. There's no indication of how to get there, where it is, what you're supposed to do to get there. I'm sure they're trying to incentivize exploration, but if something is, there's going to be a point where a player is playing and then they're like, I don't know how I'm supposed to get here because the map is not showing me a kind of path to get there. And the path that I've tried maybe 5 times or something, and they'd be like, I'm gonna give up on this. And that's not a good feeling. Nobody wants to give up on something. Now, I figured stuff out, but that's because, you know, I don't like giving up. However, people do give up, and this is like kind of a point that's going to be, if they have it at the beginning of the game, I assume they're going to have it further on, and these things add up to not feeling great. So the map, I don't like it. I don't think that I think this map specifically is really, it's stylized. I mean, it's cute. The art is cool, but it's not really great. But that's enough for that. Now, let's talk about the combat. So when you're in combat, oh man, you feel like there's so many options for you at the beginning of the game. You start out with one weapon. As Necromancer, you start out with an axe. Maybe for other races it's different. But for a human, as a Necromancer, you start out with an axe. And it gives you some cool abilities. You get to add a little vulnerability token on them. And each one, then you use your W or whatever button people use. I use actually on my mouse. But you use the second ability that you have, and it gives a damage to a target based on how many vulnerability stacks they have. Ooh, it felt really good at first. And then you can get more weapons, and each weapon gives you a different skill set. And these abilities, you know, you get a different ability for each one. And if you have one-handed and another and an offhand, then you can customize even more. So that sounds really great. It really is a cool system, I think. Now, at the beginning of the game, it feels really cool. However, as you continue playing, you will realize that you really only have 5 combat buttons per weapon set. And that's not great. I feel like there could be more in there. The gameplay can get repetitive. It's cool that you can customize and build off of that. That's cool. Now, I played Necromancer, and you get like a death form or whatever. So I actually got 10 active combat buttons, which is really cool. But I felt like some of the gameplay could be like pretty repetitive, especially because a lot of your kind of rotation is going to be based off of your auto attack, at least from what I've played. So that's just I don't think that the combat system is bad, but I don't think it's really great either. I actually don't think it's definitely not the best that I've ever played. Okay, it feels kind of clunky, a little bit weird. It's not bad, and I'm sure that as you get into the game, it gets better. However, this is just a first steps review, so people that are starting the game, there's a chance that they're going to feel, I don't really like the way this feels, and maybe they'll try a different class, but then you're going to realize, oh, every class has only 5 abilities, and they're going to be, maybe they'll search it up on Google or something, but it's something that people are going to have to think about as they play, and it could be a quit moment. And last but not least, I want to talk about not last, because I have one last one that's just at the end, okay? So last for the game, specifically gameplay. When you're playing the game, you're filling the bar for this map. It's really cool. You're getting into the game, gameplay only, okay? The story pretty much stops from that beginning. You go and you do things that are related to the story, but they're not giving you story beats, okay? Your story beat, you get one, and I assume you probably get one at the end of each map. But, you know, it could take somebody upwards of like 4 hours to finish a whole map. That does not feel great. I would say that if you're making a story, people that want to get into your story, those story beats gotta hit. You know, you gotta get them going. So I think this is something that's gonna jar people away from being interested in, like, immersed into your story. So I think this is something, maybe they fixed it later on in other expansions. I've heard good things about some of the story, but at the beginning is really the most important part of the game to really grip your players. If you're feeling like you're disconnected from the story at the beginning, I mean, I don't know what to say. You gotta fix that up a little bit. That is a problem. It's not that the story itself is terrible, but when you want those beats to hit, you know, you don't want them to be you don't want to be taking a break between your story beats. That's not how you really grab a player, at least in my opinion. And I think that's something that story-based players are going to feel a little bit jarred to. Okay, and now we're actually going to get to the last part of this. Pay to win. Okay? Now, I don't necessarily fully understand Guild Wars. However, I have looked on Google and I've looked at like different reviews, I looked on Reddit and stuff. The general consensus among the player base is that this game is not pay to win. However, the general consensus with people that have quit is definitely that it is pay to win. So I don't know where I could fall on that. However, I do see the footmarks of pay to win, the watermarks of pay to win. You can buy gold with real money. And in WoW, we know that's pay to win. In other games, that's pay to win. So what would make it different for Final Fantasy for Guild Wars? What makes it different for Guild Wars? I am fairly sure that you can buy maybe not the best, but you can definitely buy some really good armor and weapons on the auction house or whatever the gold selling thing is called. That's not good. If this game is pay to win, and I understand that the community is not going to like me saying this, so you can put that in the comments below. If you really hate it, just tell me why it's not pay to win. However, I can feel that it could be. And on top of that, the Guild Wars 2 in-game shop is extensive. It is, and they use FOMO tactics. It is not looking great to me. This is already not a free game. Okay, this game is not free. For instance, you are restricted for certain things because your character is pretty much in a free trial mode if you're playing for free. It's not a free game, okay? And any allusion to that is just wrong, okay? They say play for free, but that is a trial. You don't get the full access of the game without paying for it, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. But you only have to buy the X packs, and it is what it is. However, if you're going to make it a non-free to play game and your cash shop is that extensive, I disagree with that. Specifically me, so this is subjective. So if you don't care about that, then it's whatever. That's up to you. I'm only here to tell you what I think and really kind of guide people to help them make decisions. But there's also things that add like buffs to your professions and things. That's not great to me. I think if you're going to have a game that's not free to play, you shouldn't add things that are not cosmetic. Cosmetics, whatever. I'll buy a cosmetic or two. It is what it is. The fear of missing out, it's marketing, whatever. But that adding things that give you buffs for your professions or give you any gameplay buffs, that's not good. You shouldn't have that in a game that's not free to play. You shouldn't have anything that adds gameplay or gives you anything that makes things easier for you in the game. That is how you create a pay-to-win game. And I would argue that a lot of people would think that it's pay-to-win anyways. So I think that is probably the number one reason why I probably am not going to play this game. And at this point, I assume that it gets better at the end, and this is not a game that I would say don't play. I would say give it a try it out, go see what it's like. The gameplay system it's not for everybody. I think it's not really great for me, but for other people, I think it would be good. I think Guild Wars 2 is pretty cool. The art style is cool. The stylization of the graphics is pretty cool. And go ahead and give it a try. But if there's something you don't like, don't feel bad about it. It's okay. And I also would say that the community for Guild Wars 2 has been pretty nice. They're pretty cool, and so far all my interactions were pretty great with them. So I mean, it is what it is. But everybody, that's going to be the end of this video, and I hope everybody liked it. If you did, give me a like. If you give me a like, please give me a subscribe, and think about touching that little notification bell. On top of that, I do stream on Twitch, so twitch.tv/Kingslick. Go hit me up there, and yeah, everybody, peace. Have a good day, night, wherever you are. Peace.